Mitered squares can be connected in a couple of different ways. This is the traditional way with a side edge and then the cast on edge of another one. But what if you want to do a side to side connection like I've got right here? I've got stripes and I've got a solid. This one is my pinstripe square with a square in the middle, and it'll be a lovey, and we're going to connect that today. I want to show you how to make the side to side connection, whether you've got stripes or solids or maybe a combination of both, today on GoodKnit Kisses.
Welcome to GoodKnit Kisses. We're all about helping you stitch your love and love your stitches.
To connect our stitches from side to side, you're going to need a tapestry needle. I recommend a blunt end tapestry needle, whether it's bent or straight. And you're going to need your yarn. So yarn to match your solid. And then for stripes, you're going to want to match with the cast on edge. We have to do a little bit of kind of finagling on just on the cast on edge. And then once we get started, it will blend in here. But you definitely need it to match the cast on. I'll work with a contrasting yarn just so you can see what's going on. So go ahead and grab your supplies for that. If you're interested in this pinstripe with the solid square, that pattern will be down below, as well as the blog with all the details for what I'm going to tell you now. So go click down in the links below. All right, we're going to start by talking about the main stitches of how they are linked up. Okay, so let's look at our knitting. We have a ridge going across, and we have this lower bump, and then we have the upper bump, and that's of course the purl row from the other side combined with connecting to the top of our loop from our knitting. So our knitting has this V stitch here, and then at the top it has this little bump, and then the lower one is the purl bump. Okay, for our purposes here, I'm just going to call it bump, and I'll say upper or lower to make it easier. Okay, so we're going to try and connect those, but if you have an even number of stitches on both of your panels, whereas you end your knitting with a upper bump up here, and then you begin your knitting on the other side, the next panel that you want to connect also has an upper bump, you're missing that little smile part, the lower bump here, okay? And we want to connect those. So whether it's striped or solid, you're going to have a little piece that's on the side that you can go up underneath and then connect it with an upper bump to make a lower bump and an upper bump. Now, if you are working with just solid to solid, it will appear on mine, it's on the right side. So this lower bump is right here, right on the outside. It's not actually, it's actually the side edge, but it's not really the front, but you can grab it. So you go underneath this one, and then you go on the other side, and then you go on this one, and then they stack, okay? And that's the main principle. But when you're working with stripes, there's not a good way to do it, because if I go, let's put these up together, marry these up. You can see that the leading edge of this blue here, when I go over, it's actually green. And if I grab the lower bump here and I grab the upper bump here and put them together, I don't have a good marriage here. I don't have a good ridge to go across, because I'm going to have a little blip of the wrong color. So we have to do something slightly different, and you're going to be grabbing the yarn that's underneath where you twisted your next color. So you've got your upper bump here, and if you follow it down and kind of move your tapestry needle and poke in there, you'll see that there's a little piece of yarn right here, okay? You can go up this way, go follow your yarn that's twisted, and then you can just pop your needle up through there, and it's really easy to find that way. So this is the lower bump. So then in this case, you're going to go up through this side, and then come over and go up through this side, and then it connects them. So let's see those right now in action. I'm going to start with my stripe. I'm going to go through my cast on edge, and this color would be the same color as the cast on that I'm using. I'm just putting a contrasting color so you can really see what's going on. So we're going to find the bottom stitches here. Okay, that's the bottom edge of my cast on. We're going to go up and pull through and leave a tail, go over to the other side, go through my cast on here and pull through. Okay. Now on this first beginning part, as I said, you have to pull that leader edge through this side over here. Okay, but do you see how when my color changes just on this first on this first ridge, there is nothing to pull from that's the right color. It's going to pull the wrong color. So there's a little bit of a cheat at the beginning of the striped row. Okay, we're going to come over to the other side, and there's a little bitty bump here. Okay, so we're going to come up through this one. Okay, it's a lower bump. And then we're going to come up through on the other side, on this left side, up through the upper bump. And it puts those two together. Now, if my yarn was the same color down here, you could see that this would all match, and you can weave in this tail later. Let's go ahead and go on to the other side. So we're going to go on this side over here and see that if I grab that lower bump, it's going to be the wrong color, right? So when we go to our very second ridge, this is where it changes. We're going to go over to the left side and find that little part I was talking about. So here's the yarn that is from the previous round, and then we need to go up underneath that and get our second color. So we're going to go through that lower bump, and then we want to go to the upper bump on the other side, on the right panel, or the right mitered square, and then go up right through there. And then now we are set to do the same thing all throughout until we run out of stripes. So we're going to come over to the left side. We're going to go along that side there, find that little outside edge, okay, and then we're making it into a bump. So we're going to make a lower bump, and then go to the right side, go through the upper bump. Okay, and you can see how it marries those two up and continues that ridge on. So let's repeat it one more time. Go up here, make that a bump, and go over here through the upper bump. And it's just that simple. Okay, so you continue going until you get to this side up here, or this top part up here where there's solids. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me put my example up here with this yarn so you can see both. If I continue here and I connect this last color before we change it to our final color, I can leave a nice long tail, and then I need to put in my new solid color. So you're going to cut it, and then we're going to move on to starting our solid. Now, if you start your solid, you have this first ridge here, and there's a bump left over from the previous color. Well, that's not going to work. We can't make that work. So we're actually going to do a trick to begin here. So the start of both of these is slightly different. Now, if you're starting a panel that's solid, you don't have to worry about this little trick. But starting it from the middle of the square, we need to do this one. So we go to the second ridge, and now you can go through that lower bump, and then you can go through this upper bump. Okay. Oops. Go through that again. So I'm on the second ridge, go through that, leave a tail, make a longer tail here, and then go through the upper bump, and you continue as you have been, and then we'll come back to fix this part. So I just kind of put my finger back behind it, and then I find that stitch this way. It's a little bit harder, so there's this bump here, okay? And then my upper bump. It's still the same thing. You always want to go through a lower first and then an upper so that they are together. If you went through the upper first and then the lower, it would flip it, and it wouldn't be the right patterning. Okay, so let's come down to where we skipped. Okay, all you need to do in that case is rethread your needle, and you're just doing some duplicate stitching. So you want to come down through this upper bump, and then you want to pull that stitch, and then we're going to go up through this upper bump here. And so you're creating one of these stitches, and you don't want to pull it tight because you want to create that little U shape. Okay, and then you can just go to the back and then you would weave in your tail and make sure that this little bump here is not pulled too tightly. Okay, and that's really all you need to do. So you would just weave in your tail from your stripes from before and weave in this other tail into the back, and you'd be finished. So this is what the back looks like here. It does still have the little part where I carried my yarn, but it's still nice and flush, and you can see how that solid looks there and there. It's connected and has a nice stretchy seam, and looks pretty good. I mean, you can tell that there's a slight bit of a jog, but the stripes still line up, and overall it looks very nice. I hope you enjoyed making that, and I'll show you what my lovey looks like here. I hope you found that helpful and learned something today. Please join us for our next video here on GoodKnit Kisses.
Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.